Welcome to Your Anime Senpais. I'm John.
And I'm Richard.
And today we're going to be reviewing Sword Art Online, Episode 1, Alicization, and
That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime, Episode 2. Or, I'm going to shorten that to Tensura because, with a long title like that, Japanese like to, shorten it. So that apparently is the shortened version of it, Tensura. So,
yeah.
So I think we should get started.
Yeah, so let's roll that opening.
Okay.
Alright, so Sword Art Online, Alicization, Episode 1, Underworld. I'm going to kind of go a little bit from notes, a little bit from memory. Hopefully trim this down because it was a long episode. It was almost an hour. So basically to start off, we start off in a different world. World we weren't familiar with, new characters. The only one that was familiar was Kirito. So, had him, even though he looked different, we knew who it was. Not going to go into a big bunch of detail with this, but basically the opening plot was they find out that they need to have some ice to keep their food cold and from spoiling. So that's the character motivation. It's pretty simple, but that's really what the whole opening's about. So they need ice. They go and... they need to go to this cave, and they're saying, well, we can't because of the laws that are set up. Well, they come up with a loophole that, as long as they don't go into the dark territory, they can technically go into the caves because it's work-related and it'll benefit the village. So they get together, all three of them, Kirito, a friend, and Alice, and they all go and search for ice. So they find it. And as they're collecting the ice, they can't remember which way was the direction into the cave.
Oh.
So...
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, didn't see that coming. So they obviously take the wrong way out. And they walk through the opening of the cave, or the out the exit. And, of course, there's the dark territory, which is marked by, like red stones everywhere, and everything's dead and dying. And
Whoops.
As events happens, Alice falls, something. I don't know, but for whatever reason, something happens. She falls down, and as she's reaching out her hand, just enough of her fingertips fall over the line into the dark territory that the computer system engages, finds out who she is, and I think within the next day or so, she is actually picked up by the knights. The police, I don't know really what they are, the guardians of that realm. So they come pick her up and they take her away, saying that they're going to question her and then kill her.
Oh.
At that point, Kirito wakes up with a very blank expression on his face, because at this point we don't know that when he wakes up, he don't have a memory of what happened. So he wakes up, there's a tear going down his face. He really is just, it looks kind of clueless. So we jump into the world of Gun Gale Online, which was like the second Sword Art Online series. So they're in this series. They kind of introduce some older characters, and the whole group's there. Even the original Sword Art Online cast that was never in Gun Gale was now in there, and they're kind of taking on a group of player killers. So they're kind of just having a pretty good battle with them, and it doesn't go over very long, but they eventually come to a stalemate, and the player killers withdraw. And as the group kind of comes out into a waiting room, I guess you'd call it, they're all just sitting around talking about the advantages of how you can just ambush and player kill anybody in this game. It's just a free-for-all. So at this point, Kirito kind of collapses, and they kind of make the point to notice that, point out that he is kind of more exhausted and tired lately. That he must be doing a lot more of kind of like side business things, kind of, things that he's into. So they meet, so Asura, Kirito, and Sinon, basically the main characters from the first two series, kind of, meet up afterwards after this group in the real world. And it's pointed out that Kirito is losing weight. He looks a little thin, frail, exhausted. And it's at this point that they talk about deep philosophical things like, what is a soul? And they start going into where is that in the body? And they go, well, it's in your brain, basically. And they talk about the deep, the tiny little, I forget what they call them, microtubulars or something like that go through your brain that transmit light. And basically, whenever you're in this virtual world that he was in at the beginning of the episode. They use Fluctolite, they said, to block his memories once he leaves. So basically, I guess, cutting off that portion of his soul, essentially, from remembering what happens inside and outside of the game. So they make the point that it can kind of go both ways, that this machine, which they call the soul translator machine, can actually just maybe influence your soul or write this game straight into your soul. So in the game, you actually don't know you're in the game because I guess your soul feels like this is all real.
So it's kind of like the Matrix in a way.
Very much so, but you're not being drained as a battery.
Oh yeah.
So you're not powering the machines.
Hopefully not, at least.
Not yet. I mean, that might be a thing Sword Art explores in the future. Who knows? But anyway, so we are told that he can't tell the difference normally between this, but he also can't carry the memories out. Keywords throughout the episode point back to the Alice in Wonderland story, which is kind of odd, but okay. And eventually they trigger memories, but Kirito kind of looks confused and a little bit like just worried because he feels like a memory should be coming on, but since it's blocked, it's kind of like you can't remember something.
Yeah.
So it's almost like trying to remember a dream like the next day, and you're like, I don't remember exactly what that was, and a dream is actually the correct way to maybe lead into this point, is that time is accelerated in this world. So that's what they compare it to, as a dream. So I think the actual comparison was that if he were in there for maybe 3 days, it would actually be the time of almost 10 days worth of time, up to a month. He don't actually know for sure, but that's how much time in game he actually plays in a matter of 3 days. So it's not given an actual date because, once again, he can't remember how long he's in there.
Right.
He's just wanting to keep exploring this. Kirito's always put himself in these weird positions, especially after the first game, where he realizes that this full dive technology can be kind of dangerous. He wants to be involved with what the future is of it and kind of see where it's going to make sure it's safe, I guess, is maybe what his main objective is. It's not really made known why he does this, but so after he explains this to the two other people, they leave the little bar they met at and they go their separate ways. Asuna and Kirito talk about their future plans. Kirito plans to actually go to America, where a new full dive system is being made, and he says, well, the future of full dive technology is in America, so I'd really like you to come with me, Asuna. So she agrees. And as they're kind of kissing before they go home, a shadow's revealed in the background. And as they're walking, there's a stranger, and this is the end of the episode, where a stranger walks up and he's like, hey, kind of lost. Can you help me find where I'm going? And obviously, Kirito saw him kind of lingering. He's like, whoa, I know you're actually following us. So he reveals that he is the last surviving member of the Laughing Coffin Guild, which was a thing from the very first series, which played a part in the second series. And I think if he is truly the last survivor of the Laughing Coffin, hopefully we'll leave the Laughing Coffin alone because it's almost a running laughing joke now. So he is the last remaining survivor. He actually has the death gun from the second series, is what they used to actually kill people in real life while they were in their dive technology. So they have a confrontation. By the end of the episode, it actually looks like Kirito is hit with this gun during the confrontation, and it ends with him lying on the ground unresponsive. So really makes me wonder where this is going, if that's going to trigger him to be stuck mentally in that new world, if that's going to be something that's going to actually be able to save his soul. A lot of different ideas that could come out of this. I don't really know where they're going to go with it. I'm excited to see it. But I'm really liking the new direction and kind of a fresh take on it. Because, I don't know, with Sword Art Online, it normally starts off pretty good and it kind of gets a little stale. So hopefully this whole entire series is actually good. So overall, I'm really looking forward to it. So at this point, we'll turn it back over to you and do your review.
All right. So again, we're doing Tensura episode 2. Really enjoyed the first episode. Second episode kind of picks off where the first one left off, with Veldora, the dragon, and Rimuru, they're still kind of conversing back and forth. They're having like a really nice bonding moments, and they give each other their names, and pretty much Rimuru agrees to, or actually Veldora agrees for Rimuru to consume or to eat Veldora, but not consume him. And there's a difference there. So as we see later on in the episode, Rimuru eats and consumes other creatures and takes on their aspects. Like there was the spider, he consumed that, and now he's able to use spider webs. We actually saw this nice, funny little scene where he shoots out the web and does like a little Tarzan yell as he's crossing this ravine. So that was pretty funny. But with Veldora, he's eaten him, but he's not consumed him because he's just keeping him inside of himself for now until they figure out a way to break that seal. So he's just more like he's contained in there. That way Rimuru can continue to explore the cave, explore the world, because eventually he does get outside of the cave. He passes by these humans, which I'm not going to spoil too much right now, but basically they become pretty significant later on, but not specifically at this point in time. He passes them up, and he goes into the outer world. He goes into this forest, and it's like lush and green and vibrant with life. And he's just like, yes, I can experience this world for what it is. And then he encounters some goblins, which, unlike the goblins in Goblin Slayer,
I'm glad they're not like those
goblins.
goblins.
No. These guys are pretty weak. Actually kind of friendly a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah, right. So, and the reason why they encounter him is because they're trying to look for help, because due to the disappearance of Veldora, who was kind of their protector, now with the Veldora gone, like they're kind of just fending off other monsters by themselves, and they're kind of weak. They can't really handle that. So they ask Rimuru, hey, can you help us with this? And because apparently they're being attacked by direwolves or being harassed by direwolves. And even the goblins' strongest warriors couldn't do anything, because it takes like 10 goblins to even stand a chance against one direwolf.
Sounds like a dire situation.
Oh, yeah, this guy. But they've got an entire pack trying to harass this colony of goblins essentially, and they have no way to protect themselves. So of course Rimuru, who's kind of feels like a little bit guilty because he's kind of the one that's at fault here because he did consume Veldora. He agrees to help him out. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you guys out. And then I believe the episode ends with a potential attack on the village, and we'll see what happens next episode. So not a lot of things happen in this episode, but for me, it's like, because I've read so far in the manga, like I know what's going to happen, and it's like, for me, it's just anticipation. Like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I just want to see it animated and have the story carry out. So, but for right now, that's where we're ending at with this episode. Hopefully, next episode we're going to have some good action in there, and
definitely leave some comments down there below for us on what you thought on these episodes.
And but no spoilers, please, for anyone that's read ahead. And at least in Tensura, I don't know if Sword Art's.
I don't know. They don't really have a set.
I think they have
light novels.
Light novels, so
but, it's kind of weird how those books line up.
Right, but either way, like just keep the spoilers to just the anime itself, and but in any case, I guess that'll be it for this week, and I guess we'll see you next weekend.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Hey guys, thanks again for watching our video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And what was that other thing to do?
And maybe look at that little bell beside that notification bell and click it.
Yeah.
And you'll be notified every time we post videos throughout the week. Should be multiple times. So love for you to keep up with us.
Yep. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.